The boundless oceans of our planet, teeming with energy, rich with nutrients. Millions of years ago, all life on Earth began in these majestic waters. Every living creature can trace its ancestry back to the vast seas that cover nearly all of our planet's surface. Hidden in these mysterious depths are limitless resources. Among them, over 10,000 varieties of aquatic plants that have been discovered throughout the world's oceans. Although their forms and uses are complex and diverse, we know them simply as seaweed. Since prehistoric times, people have used these marine plants in many different ways: as food, dietary supplements, plant fertilizers, and medicine. A paste made of seaweed was used by primitive people to treat burns because it prevented bacterial infections and soothed the skin. Chinese historians have found documentation dating back over 9,000 years of the medical use of seaweed. The Scots harvested certain types of brown seaweed and used it to dress cuts and bruises. In 18th and 19th century Europe, the aristocracy thought of seaweed as a general cure-all, and it was part of a medical tradition there called thalassotherapy, from the Greek thalassa, meaning the sea. An ancient mariner's remedy used for treating bed sores is now being used in U.S. and British hospitals, and this seaweed-derived dressing is far superior to anything man-made. Today, we all use seaweed products in our daily lives, eating it in foods such as ice cream, Jell-O, and whipping cream, shampooing our hair with it, brushing our teeth, and gardening with it. But it wasn't until fairly recently that seaweed's healing and nourishing properties have been once again discovered by the modern world. Over 60 years ago, the young Dr. Joseph Wachter Sr. was taken ill, and doctors told him he only had a few years left to live. He was forced to give up a promising musical career and decided to explore the world in what he thought were his last years. While in Alaska, he became fascinated by Native American culture and began to study their nutritional habits and ways of natural healing. He continued his explorations of native people around the Pacific Rim and saw seaweed used again and again as a food supplement and medicine. After following their diets, his health was restored, and he dedicated himself to bringing the miracles of seaweed to the world. The leaves of the seaweed plant function as both root and leaf, since seaweeds do not have root systems. The leaves gather nutrients from the rich broth of the sea and use the rays of the sun through the photosynthesis process to thrive and grow, concentrating the ocean's mineral ingredients in each frond. Dr. Michelle Nishiguchi has been researching and studying seaweed at the University of California.
What they do is they're in the medium that has a lot of nutrients, and so you have all these different kinds of chemicals like phosphate and carbonate, nitrogen in the water, which are the ocean has a lot of these nutrients in it, and the seaweed is sitting in these nutrients, so they're just absorbing through their stipe and their blades through osmosis. There's a concentration effect where they can actually go through the blades into the plant.
These efficient leaves are nutritional powerhouses, packed with vitamins, minerals, enzymes, essential amino acids, and other trace elements. Recent magazine articles have described seaweed as a miracle of human nutrition, containing all that is needed for the proper functioning of the body, and able to fight the aging effects of pollution. Some seaweeds, such as kelp, appear to help remove heavy metals and radiation from the body. The 10,000 varieties of marine plants fall into three distinct groups: green, brown, and red, and each color group has its own special characteristics.
Red seaweeds have more carrageenan-type products, which are used as emulsifiers to make beer and toothpaste, cosmetics, lotions, mascaras. Kind of holds everything together. The brown algae have more vitamins. A lot of the kelp seaweeds they can absorb a lot more from the ocean, so they tend to take up a lot more nutrients from the ocean, and mostly nitrogen compounds. Green seaweeds have a higher concentration of vitamin B12, much more so than the other two types of seaweeds, as well as they tend to concentrate starch more. When you combine these types of vitamins from all three different types of seaweeds, you get a supplement that will complement any kind of diet, so that if you're requiring more carbohydrate or some more vitamin B12 or any of the niacin or nitrogen compounds, it'll help increase protein levels, which are important in terms of building amino acids and in terms of muscle density. And also your carbohydrate will help build energy, and that's quick energy that goes into glucose and glycogen, and those are stores that you use all the time, especially if you're doing any kind of aerobic activity, running, swimming, that kind of thing.
People originally collected seaweed by waiting until the tide was low and gathering it from the beach. It was then spread on rocks to dry in the sun. Later, divers in boats plucked it from the sea. Today, seaweed is sometimes harvested on enormous barges that clip the tops of the seaweed forests with giant hedge clippers. But in many parts of the world, seaweed is still cultivated and harvested by much simpler, gentler methods, such as seeding, raft cultivation, and hand gathering. Seaweed is harvested all over the world. The areas of highest concentration are North America, Norway, France, Portugal, Chile, Antarctica, China, and Japan. But it is also harvested along the coasts of Australia, India, Mexico, Argentina, and Africa. Commercial drying operations help prepare the seaweed for the marketplace, but careful drying of seaweed in the sun allows for higher concentrations of minerals, vitamins, and other organic compounds. This is the best method to preserve seaweed's health benefits to the body. As the natural resources on Earth diminish, we turn to the verdant gardens of the sea for treasures far greater than any sunken galleon might have carried. Treasures that bring with them the secrets of health and well-being. The life-giving ocean, always renewing, forever creating.